If you want to change your relationship with success, you have to change your relationship with responsibility. I'm actually okay with more responsibility. If I want more success, more money, more wealth, more exposure, more choice, more freedom, more opportunities to help, to be altruistic, to be generous, to be creative, all of that requires more responsibility, more pressure, more people relying on you. Abundance, your abundance, can only grow in proportion to what we feel safe being responsible for. That's our baseline. Even today, I was like, okay, my goal is to have at least one day a week where I, do my hair, I do my makeup, I'm like camera ready so that I can show up and film. And what can I do? What rhythm can I do that has enough flow and enough space to make sure that that cadence of showing up and filming is there? So if I film on Wednesdays, then Thursdays and Fridays, I can edit and schedule. And then Saturday and Sunday, I can, that's the weekend, people do things, I could do whatever needs to be done / live and enjoy my life and create experiences that are worth talking about. And then Monday and Tuesday, I'm scripting, I'm making sure that I have everything together so that Wednesday is as seamless as possible. And that structure, actually, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. And that's the lie of saying that responsibility and pressure are these things to be avoided. And another huge lesson that I'm learning is my addiction to safety, my unwillingness to make a move unless I'm feeling 100% safe is slowing me down. The image that comes to mind is I'm like walking through an unknown forest, right? It's like I am a trailblazer. I'm blazing my own path. I'm creating my own path. I'm not relying on society to tell me what to do or what anyone else has taught me to do. I'm going in the general direction that many people before me have gone. But my own path, no one has walked it but me. No one has walked it but me, and I'm creating it from scratch. So there's going to be obstacles that I need and that are mine to break down to create the path. To expect the path to be already paved means that I would be choosing a path that has been well traveled, doing the traditional job, going to school, going to college, getting married, like doing everything like that. That's fine. That's totally a fine path to go. But I've decided, and there's something in me that literally will not allow me to live in any other way, to walk my own path. And this is the scarier path. It's the riskier path. There's higher reward, in my opinion, over here. It's more fulfilling. And in your life, you have to decide, like, do I want fulfillment or do I want ease? Because those two things often are antithetical to one another. It doesn't mean that there is no ease on the path of fulfillment, but the main goal isn't ease. The goal is fulfillment. The goal is walking in your calling, walking in your purpose, and having something that is worth sacrificing for. Like in Mulan, it's like a girl worth fighting for. It's low-key that, but not a girl worth fighting for, like a vision worth fighting for. But back to the analogy, if I'm walking my own path, every step, if I have to ensure that every step I'm 100% safe, oh, there's nobody here about to attack me. Oh, there's no, ticks. There's no thorns. There's nothing prickly. Like, okay, step. And then the next step, I have to do the exact same thing. Assess the entire scene, so that I feel safe the entire way. If that is my main priority, I will literally be going at a glacial pace. So if I want to speed up my process, one, I have to trust myself. I have to trust my discernment, and I have to trust that I'm able to metabolize any consequence that may come my way. So instead of needing to assess every step, how can I look like for the next, I don't know how long, like a mile or half a mile or whatever, can I look around and be like, I think I'm safe. I think I'm about 70% safe. This is a risk. This is scary. And then book it and run. And then when I'm out of breath, do that, think about, okay, like I tripped and fell when I ran. So maybe next time when I'm looking, I need to make sure I'm also scanning for rocks real quick, but it's like, okay, I tripped and fall. I got a bloody knee, and what? I heal it. I continue on. I keep going. It's like, you can't take every consequence or every mistake as a signal that you're not meant to go on this path. It's like, oh, I tried to blaze my own path and then I tripped and I fell and I got a bloody knee, so I guess I'll make my way over here to the paved way where everything is safe. It's like, no, that's a part of the process. It's supposed to be painful. It's supposed to have obstacles. It's supposed to be scary. And that's why I think that emotion regulation is so important, not so that you can always be calm and so that we can idolize this state of calm, but to recognize when we do experience the ups and downs in life. I have a lot of different tools that allow me to bring myself down if it ever gets too crazy. And I also can know and trust that every emotion is just a wave. The reason anyone does anything is emotions. People don't really understand that everything is emotionally activated. Every bad decision that you made is because you were dysregulated, is because you were trying to fill some sort of void. Every purchase that you make, you're not purchasing a thing, you're purchasing an emotion. Oh, this is going to make me feel more successful. Oh, this is going to make me feel more confident. This is going to make me feel validated. Everything that we buy is a feeling. I heard Layla Hermosi say that and I was like, oh my God, it totally shifts how I think of purchases. It creates a new mindfulness. I'm like, every time I want to buy a new workout set, why do I want to buy this? What feeling am I trying to get from buying this? And is that a wise thing to just buy it because it's going to make me feel that way and I know it and I just buy it? Or do I say, maybe I can get that feeling in a different way that doesn't cost me money because I don't really want that. If I want validation, are there other ways that I can get validation? Can I self-validate? The effort is the reward. That is one thing that I have been repeating to myself over and over again. The effort is the reward, because when your goals are really ambitious, it's gonna take longer than you want to get there. So you have to learn how to enjoy the process, how to celebrate small wins, or you won't survive it. You'll literally quit or you'll burn out, because if your only definition of success is when you reach the goal, one, it'll be short-lived and you'll spend most of your life absolutely miserable and feeling like a failure. You can do that. And I think it's not that bad. It's okay to feel like a failure. Like, that's a part of it. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't really want to live there. Like, that doesn't feel fun to me. So I'm like, am I a failure? Or did I feel like a failure for a moment because I'm willing to go after things that are outside of my comfort zone? And does that not make me a success? Does that not make me exactly what success looks like? Someone who is willing to be courageous enough to make mistakes. I just watched America's Next Top Model, the documentary with Tyra Banks. And to be so honest, like, I grew up watching America's Next Top Model. I grew up watching how they did like the racial swap photo shoots and everything. And like, there was so much pain that came out of that show. Like, it was crazy. I'm not going to go into details of explaining everything, but I don't know. I just feel like Tyra Banks also created so much opportunity for different sizes and different shapes and different kinds of looks for models. And it was also something that she was criticized for, right? Calling girls fat and all this stuff. And it's like, she's received so much backlash. And I'm like, and you know what she does? She takes it. She's like, yeah, I didn't do good here and I did good here. Like, and she's so bold. And she is, I don't know. I respect her way more now. And not that I didn't respect her before, but she is just so willing. She made some big mistakes very publicly. And she's really, she kind of ruined lives, honestly. And she also made lives. She also made dreams come true. So it's like that dichotomy of like, are you actually willing to be a huge up in front of the world if it also means that like you're living in your truth and you're also creating this like amazing thing too? And I don't know, I'm just like, I'm really realizing that the most successful people, like the people who I admire so much, those people are just, they're so willing to take responsibility for just being a total fool and doing things so wrong, but it's like, they pave the way. They pay for other people to be right about it and to do it the right way. But without them, without the people who are actually willing to be the trailblazers and make the mistakes and do it wrong, there would be no people who could do it right and be more nuanced about it, you know? So it's like, and each of us have our own role in this life. So, but I think that characteristic of being willing to make mistakes in front of other people is why most people won't really be as successful as they could be. Because I think it's just such a painful experience. And that's why emotion regulation is really helpful, because it says, I can tolerate this discomfort. I do not need an immediate form of pleasure to get me through this short discomfort. And it's getting worse and worse now. I mean, even myself, I feel myself doing it. I feel the slightest amount of boredom. What am I doing looking at my phone? There's so many cheap thrills, and I really want to be better at saying no to things that are easy, and really just at the same time raising my baseline. This standard, the bottom standard, is you on your worst day. For an example, to give an example of my own life, when I was absolutely heartbroken, like down bad, I was still posting. I was still posting almost every day. I was still getting ready. I was still taking walks. I was still going to the gym. I was still feeding myself. I was still cleaning my home. And maybe from the outside, like I actually got this a lot, like, oh, you're handling it so well. It's like, no, my baseline for what it is to take care of myself and to show up for myself is just higher. That is my baseline. So it really, becoming a high performer and becoming successful is about raising your baseline of like you at your worst day, what's bare minimum for you. And this takes a long time because it's like shifting your whole lifestyle and your identity. But you at your best, you can only be you at your best. You can't be that very often. You can push up into your best a few days, but the goal isn't to have more and more days where it's you at your best. What's a stretch for you now will eventually become your bare minimum, and just slowly pushing for that. Like for me, for example, I've been reading every day. I've been doing yoga every day and practicing Spanish every day. Like those are the 3 things that I just want to be a part of my life. Like I don't want it to be a question. I want it to be easy to do that. Like it's just a part of it, because the version of me that I want to be has all these skills. She can speak Spanish. I'm always growing my mind intellectually, and I have a yoga practice. You know, I noticed I was watching a lot of videos of people who had this like really beautiful yoga practice, and I love doing yoga. It's this physical embodiment of practicing the idea that I'm good enough as I am. Like, can I get into a push press handstand? No. Not at all. I'm nowhere near that. But I know if every day I continue to just practice the fundamental skills, the basic skills, eventually I will be. That will be a part of my practice, but I don't have to rush it. You know, I can do some intentional practice if I want, but you know, all I have to do is keep doing that habit and like slowly increasing it. Maybe I only do, 20 minutes of yoga right now, but in the future I'm doing an hour of yoga, and that's what's normal for me. So really just keeping the standard just consistently. What can I do consistently instead of, oh, what's me at my best? Don't shoot for that goal. It's shooting for what can I do consistently, even if it feels like it's not enough. So yeah, growing in a lot of ways, and committed to living a life of success according to me, what that means to me, and doing it willingly, and being okay with the pressure, being okay with the responsibility, and it coming from that intrinsic place. So, all right, that's all. Talk to you later. Bye.